NBC's Ken Delaney, and thank you very much. Okay, I have an awesome panel here. Let's bring in Michael LaRosa. He is the former press secretary to First Lady Jill Biden. Asawin Subsang is a senior politics reporter for Rolling Stone. And Susan Del Percio is with us, and she's a Republican strategist and MSNBC political analyst. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and start with the Senate Intelligence Committee that's now requesting access to classified documents seized at Mar-a-Lago. Now, the spokesperson for committee chair Mark Warner released a statement saying this, quote, Chairman Warner and Vice Chairman Rubio have requested that DOJ and the ODNI provide the committee with the classified documents that were seized in the search of Mar-a-Lago and an assessment of potential risk to national security as a result of their mishandling. Susan, that is a Democratic chair, Senator Mark Warner, and a Republican vice chair, Senator Marco Rubio. Now, this sounds like this is signaling a bipartisan investigation from the United States Senate?
It certainly does, and it's certainly warranted, Simone. What's very interesting is the bottom part of that quote where they talk about so they can see if they have to mitigate any problems, any danger that may be out there when it comes to sources and methods. That, to me, is one of the great things that we have not really spent a lot of time talking about with these classified documents. These are people's lives that are on the line, and Donald Trump just threw them in a file box. So it's really important for everyone in this country, Democrat, Independent, Republican, to understand and believe in our integrity of our DOJ as well as our intelligence.
I agree with you, Susan. It is unfathomable and unprecedented, a word we have continued to hear what the former president seems to have done. Look, it does look like that Donald Trump is now trying to play the victim here, because this is what he told Fox News today. Quote, the country is in a very dangerous position over all of the scams and this new one, years of scams and witch hunts, and now this. If there's anything we can do to help, my people, would certainly be willing to do that. And then he adds, they break into a president's house, a sneak attack where it was totally no one ever thought a thing like this would happen. Okay. All right. First of all, executing a search warrant is not breaking into your house. And don't even get me started on this witch hunt. Asawin, I personally believe that the former president's words and actions have been inciting the violence that we're seeing. But do you think that that's a fair characterization?
Well, let's just go with that sentence you read that he gave Fox News recently this week. If he and his allies really did want to tamp down the temperature and kind of do everything they could to impose a level of calm that we are just not seeing right now, they could do that. He could easily do that. Him saying for one sentence to Fox News does not make it so. He would actually have to do it. And everything we're seeing that he's doing in his actions, not just his one sentence or half a sentence to a single Fox News reporter at one point, shows that he is doing the exact opposite, or if not the opposite, very close to it. Look, like we've already seen this lead to uptick of not just heated rhetoric, but actual violence and attempted murder. I'm in Cincinnati right now, and very close to where I'm sitting is where last week the FBI field office was attacked by a man who traveled from another part of Ohio here because, as far as we could tell from his social media postings and other evidence, he was acting because he felt that the FBI and other forces of the so-called deep state were trying to take his country away from him, were besieging his beloved president or former president, Donald J. Trump. As far as I can tell, Trump and his allies have not forcefully spoken out about this, or really spoken out about this at all.
They haven't at all. I mean, Oswald, they haven't at all. They have not forcefully spoken out about anything. It is upsetting, frankly. It's very upsetting, given what we know happened. I mean, just look at January 6th. Come on. And now we know that the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, they've issued this joint bulletin about threats and calls for violence against federal law enforcement. I mean, Susan, let me bring you in here, because I did talk to a historian who compared 2022 to pre-Civil War times. What do you think Republicans should be doing to take the temperature down? Because Asawin is making it plain for us. They haven't.
Well, what they should do, or what will they do? Right now, the Republicans want this temperature raised way high up. They think it helps them in the midterms. They are not putting the country first by any stretch of the imagination. They simply want to engage people any which way they can. And you know what? You're absolutely right to talk about January 6th, because it's very similar. The president is stoking this anger, and Republicans are going along with it. Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to defund the FBI. That's bonkers, and it's very unsafe, and it's very dangerous. Where I do believe there are a handful of responsible Republicans who are trying to say, tone it down. There are also those Republicans who are very worried about what they're going to find in those records that were taken from Donald Trump's property, because they know they don't want to wrap themselves too close around Donald Trump, who may end up being in a whole lot of hot water.
A whole lot of hot water. Michael, you know, John Bolton had more to say about whether Donald Trump can declassify secret documents. You know, we worked on the campaign trail together. You just came from the White House. I want you to hear what John Bolton had to say.
If he, in fact, said something like that, when was it memorialized? When did the White House counsel write it down? To whom was it distributed? This is not a case of saying lower-level bureaucrats have a right to stop the president's decision. It's precisely the opposite. You can't implement the decision unless it's written down so that people know what it is.
I never thought I'd find myself uplifting comments that John Bolton made, but you know firsthand the importance of classified information. We're going to put up a photo of a SCIF right now. This is a sensitive, compartmented information facility. This is a SCIF. This is a rare photo. It shows how federal documents are stored. This is President Obama and former UN ambassador, now current White House staffer, Susan Rice, on the phone. Talk to me about your experience with SCIFs.
Well, first of all, the First Lady and the President, I think they've traveled over to 10 countries now. But every time we're planning these trips overseas, we have to go into a SCIF where we can't bring our cell phones, we can't do email, not even Apple Watches or anything like that. So talking about anything related to national security is very serious, especially when it comes to just protocols for staff. And it's important to remember, I think, like the PRA, the Records Act that we're talking about here, was born out of Watergate. So presidents like Donald Trump couldn't burn, sell, or flush documents down the toilet. And as you know, as a staffer, one thing that's impressed upon you when you go to the White House and when you leave the White House is the preservation of documents. Those notes that you take in meetings are not yours. Those emails you send, they're not yours.
They belong to the federal government.
They belong to the federal government, and they will be available for the public to see down the road. So in terms of protocol, I mean, as staff, these are pretty well-known regulations.
And you're assuming it should also be known to the former president of the United States of America.
Especially given what he attacked Hillary Clinton for in 2016.
Especially. Okay, so we know that Attorney General Merrick Garland has to do his investigation, but Democrats, I think, just have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time here. And do you think the best thing for Democrats to be doing in this moment is to let Merrick Garland do his thing, and Democrats should focus on the things that, you know, their agenda, for example?
I do. In fact, well, first of all, as we know, Merrick Garland is pretty judicious.
To say the least.
He's someone that you can rely on to cross his T's and dot his I's. Secondly, I would think now we all know the president and Merrick Garland are pretty good at playing the long game. So I think we should let the DOJ do their thing, let the president focus on the country and his agenda, because every time he's focused on the agenda, he's racking up wins.
He's racking up wins, that's for sure. All right, Michael LaRosa, Asawin Subsang, and Susan Del Percio, thank you all very, very much.